Hey, bourbon brothers and sisters, Angry Mac here, coming to you again from my basement. Just some guy in his basement, sprouting or spouting, whatever. Could take it as wisdom, could take it as nonsense, but you take it whatever way you want. Today, I would like to speak about bottle shares. Bottle shares, I'm seeing a lot of information come up on the social media platforms TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, what to bring. The latest one was a great commentary by Bottle to Bond on Instagram and TikTok. If you're not following him, you probably should. Great guy, makes those semi mini Glens, a little protective container. They're absolutely outstanding. Bottle to Bond. But he brought some ideas into my head, and everybody goes to their first bottle share. So whether it's your first bottle share or your 100th bottle share, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy, man. And I'm going to tell you today how I think you shouldn't be that guy. That's what I'm going to tell you about right now. So, things that you want to bring to a bottle share. You want to bring a bottle. Do you want to bring a friend? Sure. Bottle shares are known for having extra people there. You may want to ask your host because your host puts in a lot of work. You may want to call your host and say, hey, listen, is there anything I could bring? Is there anything I could do for you? So you want to set the table up great just by contacting the host and see if you can help out. It's a lot of work. The host is usually in charge of getting water, so maybe you could bring a case of water. The host gets food. So hosting is a lot of work on its own. So the first thing in a bottle share, contact the host. Find out, can you bring a guest? Can you bring two guests? Is there anything that you would like me to bring or help you out doing? Now, when I go to a bottle share, I look in front of me. These are 4 bottles that I would bring to a bottle share. And it's not about your allocated bottles. It's not about the greatest bottles you have in the world. It's not a flex. Oh, I've got the most expensive allocated bottles. It's not like that. So I bring 4 bottles all the time. Like this is a perfect example of what I would bring. A Penelope rose cask. People love this. I think it's really good. In my area, is it readily found? Yes and no. You could find it, but it's not on every shelf. Whiskey Thief, something from Kentucky. This is a Kentucky a Kentucky Bourbon Festival bottle. Can't get it here in New York, obviously. This is another pick done by Shiloh for veterans. Obviously, you can't get that. So these are one of a kind, and this is a one of a kind. This is a short barrel, which we don't get up here in New York. Again, one of a kind Kentucky Bourbon Festival pick. So for me, I usually bring craft. For me, I usually bring things that I'm pretty certain other people can't find. And also, if you bring a bottle to a bottle share, I don't plan on bringing them home. Believe me, I would like to bring them home. If it was my Whiskey Thief and it was this full, I'd like to bring some home. But if you want to bring something with you like this Penelope, who's almost done, and it is done, finished at the bottle share because you are sharing, bring it. But remember, it may not come home with you. I've left bottles there for the host, and I've given bottles away to people when I was there, people who really liked them and I knew they would enjoy them. I have enough lucky that I'm never going to finish it in my lifetime. I love to share. So what I usually bring to me, 4 bottles. Sometimes I bring some samples. I bring sample bottles. Now I bring sample bottles for 2 reasons. If somebody's going to share samples with me, I have them. But if somebody wants samples of what I have, I can give them samples to take home. Again, no problem with that. Usually bring a cigar or 2. Do I always smoke them? No, but I like to have them just in case people are smoking cigars, or I could offer somebody a cigar. And the last thing that I like to bring with me, I like to bring my own glass. It's not a typical Glen. I want to have my own glass. This Metalhead's whiskey glass was a gift, and it has been to several states, and it has been to dozens of bottle shares. This is the glass I bring with me. And I like my own glass because you could pick it out from a pile. You don't know where it is. Everybody's got that same plain Glen with nothing on it. Who knows whose Glen it is? Next thing you're drinking somebody else's stuff. I mean, it is alcohol, so I guess it's a bit sanitized, but I want to drink out of my Glen. I want to rinse my Glen. I want it to be mine, my glass, whether it's my Glen or whatever it is. So when you're going there, everyone shares. Now remember that. Everybody shares. Everybody's bringing something. Whether you're bringing 1, 2, 3, 4 bottles. But the most important thing when you go to the bottle share is the people. Once again, you're not there to show off. You're not there to flex. Hey, listen, I've been at bottle shares. where people have had GTS, people have had bottom shelf stuff. I typically would want to stay away from the bottom shelf stuff if you are bringing it to a share. However, if that bottom shelf is something that you created yourself, a barrel project, by all means, bring it, share it. That's the time to get it out there. I've been to bottle shares where I bought 4 bottles. I've been to bottle shares where there are 100 bottles. I've been to bottle shares where there are 20 bottles. But it doesn't make a difference because it's about the people. I recently went to a bottle share from my friend Steve, upstate New York, and I said, "What can I bring?" And he said, "Nothing." Nothing. I said, "No, don't bring anything. We're going to share my bottles." Little did I know that he had a treasure trove of the greatest bottles I've ever encountered. He just wanted to share. He just wanted to talk to people. He just wanted to share where we got these bottles from. He wanted to know what you thought of these bottles. I probably did about 8 or 9 reviews during the 4 or 5 hours that I was there because he kept asking me, "Mac, you got to try this. Mac, you got to try this." And one of the greatest things ever, so generous, and again, I said it's about the people, he gave me a bottle to take home, a full bottle. And as I was leaving, he was trying to give me another one. I'm like, hey, I don't want to take advantage. Thank you very much. Some things to be prepared when you're at these bottle shares or before you go into the bottle shares. Hydration, water when you're thirsty, water when you're not thirsty, water in between pours. You must drink a ton of water. Don't fill up your Glens, your cups, whatever you're using. You want half-ounce pours because you're sampling, you're sipping. You're not drinking to the excess. Don't be that guy who drinks to the excess and fall down because you're not there to enjoy anybody. Maybe you need a different meeting, you know what I'm saying? Because if you drink to excess in a group at a bottle share, that may not be the group you want to talk about. You may want to start your day by saying, "Hey, my name's Angry Mac. Step 1." Just throwing it out there. So you want to have some balance. You want to make sure that you've had food. So before you go there, you want to make sure you eat, your belly's full, not stuffed to the gills, but you want to make sure there's something in your stomach. There's going to be food there. You want to pick and munch. You want to take breaks. You don't want to drink pour after pour after pour. It is a recipe for disaster. Believe me, if you've been to pours, you've seen the people. They're usually people who are so excited, never been to a bottle share before. And yes, sometimes it's overwhelming. Where am I going to start? What am I going to try? Oh my God, I've never seen that. Don't get overly enthusiastic when you see these incredible bottles. Turn around, talk to people. You want to share the story. Where'd you get that bottle? How much did you pay for that bottle? Wow, did they have any more? This is fantastic. You're building up relationships when you're there. Don't be afraid to take notes. You have a phone or a pen and a pad. Take notes what the tasting notes are. Talk to people there. Hey, listen, what are you getting out of this? This is what I get out of it. I go to bottle shares, and I'm lucky enough where people do recognize me sometimes. My wife says I'm only local talent, but I'm barely that. But people do recognize me, and they say to me, "Mac, you have a lot of very simple notes." My palate is simple. I think that it translates over to everybody. Everybody knows what cherry tastes like, caramel tastes like, maple tastes like. Every once in a while I get one that's off that kind of even surprises me. But I like to hear the notes of other people. I was at with a baker, and he was giving me some notes. I'm like, "Dude, where are you picking that up?" And he's like, "Oh, I was a baker for 15 years." But it makes sense because you want to hear these other people because he'll tell you something. Wow, this smells like a doughy bread. And you're like, "Yeah, it does smell like a doughy bread." And it's not the power of suggestion, which let's face it, probably could be. But it's listening to other people and picking up on their experience and trying to relate it to what you're doing at the point. Once again, you're building a relationship, building friendships. You're expanding on relationships and friendships. That's what the bottle share is about. You want to get their knowledge. And of course, balance. You want some balance there. You don't want to be hovering over the same bottles all night. You want to be moving around. You want to be talking to different people. I mean, I'm a hobnobber extraordinaire, and Bourbon Barry and anybody at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival will tell you that. If you can't pick that up by now, I don't know, maybe I'm not doing it right. Love to talk to people. I'm a people person. This is what you see. This is why I love bottle shares. Now, some things you don't want to do. Again, you don't want to hover over that allocated bottle. You see a GTS or a Weller or a King of Kentucky, you don't want to have pour after pour. It is a share. Somebody was kind enough to share that with you. Don't hog the bottle, man. Have one pour. You know, there are times you're going to have more than one. I went to a bottle share and a gentleman brought a Jack Daniels 10, 12, and 14 when the 14 just came out, and they were going for like $700 up here, well out of my range. So we did a little blind, and I loved it. The 14 didn't win for me. I loved that. I think it was the batch 2 of the 12. That hit more for me. So then we were done. I was like, wow, this was really good. And he said, Mac, why don't you try the 14 again? So I did have another 14. I would have left it at that. Very happy to have the one because I said it is about the share. I don't want to be a glutton. I don't want to be that guy. Now, don't be so focused on labels. Don't let the labels draw you to that part of the table. Once again, you see a King of Kentucky and that's all you could focus on. Get your King of Kentucky and move on. Move on to the short barrel. Move on to the barrel. Move on to something like Whiskey Thief, which you've never seen before. When I go to bottle shares, the labels that I've never heard of, those are the ones I want to try. I was lucky enough to try Barrel King, Whiskey Sponge, things that I've never seen before, things that I can't get my hands on or taste. That's what I want. So the allocated bottles shouldn't be your focus. Yes, if you have not tried them, give it a shot. Once again, it's a share. You know, if you only came for the allocated bottles, you really missed the point. You really missed the point. So light pours, not heavy pours. You don't want to overfill. Remember, it's called a share. Now, there is a very fine line when you're talking to people. You don't want to come off like an expert. You don't want to come off like an expert even if they perceive you to have knowledge. You just want to talk. Everybody there is on the same footing. Let's face it. You go to a bottle share, unless Fred Minnick is there, there are no experts there. There are just people with some knowledge willing to share what they think. Embrace that. Don't embrace the knowledge that you know and try to come across as a know-it-all. I go to bottle shares and I talk to people. I don't talk about tastes. It's generally, do you like it? Do you didn't like it? What did you like about it? You don't want to feel superior to anyone. So, sometimes in your enthusiasm, your knowledge, you're a little aggressive with the way you're talking to people. Easy, champ, easy. Everybody just settle down. Sharing your knowledge could be an easy process because, once again, the word is share. Back and forth information. I tell you what I think, you tell me what you think, everything works out. You may say to me, angry, you're out of your mind. And I'll say, yeah, probably. Or I may pick up things. I asked Josh from Bourbon Theory one time, how do you get, I don't remember what he described it as. And then he was telling me how he came to it. And I was trying to wrap my mind around it, and I understood. And I was able to add that note to not only my palate, but my nose and my repertoire, because I asked him, how did you get that? I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? That's what I enjoy, and that's what should be the enjoyable part. When you bring your bottles to where I forgot to tell you, you may want to take a picture of your bottle because you forgot. You get there, you're drinking, you don't really want to leave more than you brought. It does happen sometimes, and it's usually the generosity of other people. So once again, you want to enjoy the bottle share. You want to try different things. You want to explore the ones you haven't had and still try the allocated stuff. You want to take notes. I like taking notes because it helps me to remember what I tried and what I didn't try. And it also helps me, like if I say, hey, listen, what did you pay for that? Now I'm thinking about the secondary market. What would I pay for that? I really like this. Is this price point too much for me? Is it crazy? Or is that a good price point? But unless I write it down, I'm going to forget. Talking to too many people, drinking a little too much, eating a little too much, you know what it is. Don't look around and think you need to drink the high proof. Compare the proofs. You're drinking a hazmat at 141, but you're drinking something that's not hazmat at 138. It's not that much different. What is the 138 taste different than a 123? I like to mix it up and compare it because does it drink hotter than 123? Does it drink lower than 136? These are things when you're at a bottle share, you're going to have this plethora of pours that you can try and you can make comparisons that you may not be able to do at your own house. Not only that you may not be able to do at your own house, you're not going to be able to do with these pours. So remember, don't Be that guy. A bottle share is about the community. It's about the share. It's about the craft of the bourbon community, not the craft itself, but the craft. How these distillers are bringing you this. It's about enjoyment, but most of all, it's about the friendships you make. Now, what am I going to go? I'm going to hold this Penelope right now. I'm not even going to review this Penelope. I'm just going to give you guys a nice cheer. This Penelope Rosé cask, if you haven't had it, is a real banger. As you can see, this is almost done. Once again, this is my teeny tiny blend from my friend Mark. Cheers, everybody. Just like the bottle share, these are the people you enjoy being with. Find the people you love, give them a hug. Tomorrow's no guarantee, man. If you followed this far, can you please like, follow, subscribe, the whole thing? Thank you very much. Always forget to say at the beginning, it always kicks me in the ass. There you go. Cheers, everybody.